Yeah, definitely. This is John with Frequency555.com. We're here with Patricia Allison, teacher of permaculture design and consensus decision making, and she's living here currently at the Medicine Wheel Collective in Earthaven Ecovillage. Tell us a little bit first of all about what permaculture is. I don't think most people are familiar with the term.
Permaculture is a design system for implementing sustainable human culture in all of its aspects. So if we're going to look at are our lives sustainable, we have to look at where's our food coming from, how are our houses being built, where's our clothing coming from, where are our shoes coming from, how are we entertaining ourselves, our transportation, our energy. Every aspect needs to be looked at as through the lens of sustainability.
Okay.
So now permaculture is a design system that helps people to begin to examine, again, every aspect, everything they're doing, and to redesign it so that all the pieces work together in a sustainable way. Permaculture is the key word there. We are building a culture that leads us to want to be sustainable. And one of the key features to a sustainable culture is, am I self-empowered? Do I know myself to be an important part of this culture? And the consensus decision-making process is a way of helping every person to know their importance in the whole. It's a way of empowering the individual, and at the same time, some people would say it as lessening the power of the individual, but at the same time, paradoxically, what you see is you are totally empowering the individual. So it's that yin-yang, that balance between the individual and the whole. And so hopefully when we are doing consensus well, we are creating a culture in which everyone's needs are being met.
Right. And the consensus process itself is, it's unlike majority vote, which many people are familiar with, or, you know, a single authoritarian or authoritative leader taking hold of the reins of an entire group of people. Consensus is the idea that you can really get everyone, if you know what you're doing,
right,
to kind of see eye to eye and come to agreement.
Right. It's finding that place where everyone has agreement. And again, there's several little mythologies, just quickly. One is that people will say, oh yeah, we tried consensus and it just takes so long. And so I have two answers. One is, that's probably because you didn't have training in how to use this tool. This is a tool, you need to be trained, and if you just pick up this tool called consensus and you try to do it without any training, you're going to be clumsy about it. So that's number one. Number two is, yes, involving everyone in a decision can indeed take longer. I mean, if I am the queen, then the decision is made when I make the decision. But my challenge then as the queen is, how do I implement this decision? How do I engage everyone in this process to implement this decision? So it can take a heck of a lot longer to both communicate and perhaps coerce people to obey my decision.
Right.
Whereas when we have all made that decision, we have ownership of it and we move toward implementing it.
Maybe we could talk first of all about this building we're in, for example, here, your new cottage.
Yes.
It was made with...
This is, her name is Overlook Cottage because she is overlooking the confluence of a stream and a larger creek and a very small little road and a larger road. So there's like little arteries and capillaries all coming together here. So that's where her name comes from. And let's see, this was built from trees that we cut on the edge of the garden because they were overshadowing the garden. We have our own mill here, so we cut the trees and then we mill them. And that's the frame of the house. That's like the 2x4s and the actual foundation and frame. Then we actually, for our foundation in the ground, we use black locust posts, which are extremely rot resistant, as good as concrete. And then this ceiling and wall, this was all recycled from a building that was taken down just down the road from here by friends. And then the plywood that's on the rest of the house came from recycled apple juice concentrate shipping crates that came from South America. So those are the recycled parts of the house, and then the more natural parts of the house are the clay straw. The actual insulation of the building is made of clay straw, which is straw tossed in a clay mix and then just crammed into the wall cavity. And it works just as good as the pink stuff, in fact better, because it's all natural, and it comes from just down the road.
Yeah, indeed.
And then it'll have earth plaster all over it, so that in the end, this all parts of this cottage, except for this lovely recycled wood, will look like adobe. Right. It'll have that look of. And
the earth plaster is just another mixture of
clay and sand and maybe a little bit of fine chopped straw or cattail down is a good thing to put in there. Yeah. Sometimes we use a little bit of flour paste.
It gives it that nice aesthetic look on the outside.
Yeah, and so it's a hard surface. It doesn't look like mud. People think, oh, it's a mud house, and they're assuming that you can rub mud off of the wall.
You can put some kind of tint in it and actually do different colors too.
Yeah, what I'm going to do with this is it's going to end up being just a pale beigey color, and I'm going to put ground up mica in it. So it'll have that little sparkle to it. Yeah. And yeah, even if I didn't want it to be lovely, I want it to be lovely so people can see that you don't have to live in, a mud hovel, but you can make gorgeous little houses and large houses out of natural materials.
Even your fireplace is made out of cob, which is...
Yeah, that is mud. So cob is just clay, sand. You learn what proportions, because it depends on the consistency of your clay and your sand. And you mix them up. In fact, we stomp them. So it's like stomping grapes, and we have
straw as well in there, right?
Yeah, mix water into it, and then straw, and you mix it into these like heavy loaf consistencies, big mud pies. And then you just take one mud pie and put it down and put a next one next to it and kind of splooge them all together, and you have a cob wall, or in my case, a cob stove. And this will be my little fireplace and cook stove.
Great.
And it cost me, I think, about $4 for a bale of straw.
Now with planting and permaculture, you try and have, edible and medicinal and useful plants pretty much all around your house. And you try and make it as easy on yourself to actually harvest and maintain these things.
That's right. Yeah.
And maybe you want to mention a little bit about zones.
Yeah, well, let me say the part about not making it hard on yourself, and that is what permaculture design is about. Because permaculture is a design system. And it is about making it work so that all the systems feed themselves. I mean, as a tiny little example, if you have an orchard and you have chickens, you be sure to design it so that your chickens can go into your orchard at about this time when all the fruit has fallen. Many functions are served. You feed your chickens, you clean up the diseased fallen apples, so to speak, on the ground, and particularly you break the disease cycle. So if the chickens are eating those bugs, then those bugs are not going to overwinter in the apple debris and leave their eggs, etc. So it's an amazing thing, and that's just a little example.
Yeah, and it's basically understanding how different life systems can work together in harmony. Even when it comes to planting plants,